Hey guys, today is chapter 9, starting with lesson 1, angle relationships. Our objective is 6.10a. I can discuss how to solve equations that represent geometric concepts. All right, so we are talking about angles. So let's review a lot of important vocabulary for today. So we have 4 different types of angles that we're going to be working with. Our first one is called adjacent angles. Okay, and we know that they are adjacent because they share a vertex, which is just where 2 lines meet. So this point, this is a vertex, okay? They share this point where they meet together, a vertex, and they share a side. Okay, so visually, there's our vertex, okay? And here's their side, okay? So angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent angles. Vertical angles are formed when 2 lines intersect. Okay, so they cross over, intersect, and they have the same measure. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 3, these are vertical angles. Here's our intersection. Okay, angle 2 and angle 4, these are also vertical angles. Okay, so they have this, 1 and 3 have the same measure, 2 and 4 have the same measure. Okay, our next one is 2 angles that have a sum of 180 degrees are supplemental angles. Okay, so they form a straight line. We can also think of it as half of a circle. Okay, you can draw a line and make half of a circle. Well, I know a full circle is 360 degrees. Well, half of that, if you take half of that, we get 180. Okay, so you have half a circle. Okay, and the sum of angle 1 and angle 2 is going to give you that 180 degrees. And the last one, 2 angles that have a sum of 90 degrees are complementary, okay? And one way we know that they are complementary is that the sum of them is 90 degrees, okay? And they form a right angle. Okay, I have a right angle right here, which is 90 degrees. We can also think of it as a corner, okay? Corner complementary. Okay, well, how can we relate that to what we've been doing with our equations? Okay, so first let's see if we can identify what kind of a angle or angles we have here. Well, I see a vertex here, a shared vertex. Okay, I also see a shared side. So since the angles share a vertex and a side, they are adjacent angles. Okay. They've given us the measure of both angles. So I have 35 degrees and 55 degrees. Well, if I find the sum of those, let's see what we have. So I have 35 plus 55. So the sum of those 2 angles is 90 degrees. Well, I know angles that have a sum of 90 are also complementary angles. Okay, and even if you turned it, try to turn it in a way where it's right side up, okay, you could see that corner there. Makes a corner, 90 degrees. All right, flip it over. Let's look at the next side. Okay, we're also going to see if we can identify these angles. Okay, well, they've given us the measure. So let's see. I have 127 degrees, and I have 53 degrees. If we add those together, so the sum of these angles is 180 degrees. So that means that these are supplementary. All right, what if we have an angle missing? Okay, based on what we know now about the sum of angles and what those sums mean in identifying angles, how could we find a missing one? Okay, I need you guys to scratch out 4, this is a little typo, and write form, okay? These 2 angles form a straight line, and we know that angles that form a straight line are called supplementary angles. Well, what else do we know about supplementary angles? I know that they equal 180 degrees. Remember, we've got our half circle. So I know my total here has to be 180. I have two angles, so that means I have two parts. One angle we know is 118 degrees. And then our missing one is represented by x. Okay. How can I rewrite that as an equation? Okay, well, down here we're just going to take our strip diagram. I know that the sum of my two angles, so 118 degrees plus x degrees, is going to equal my 180 degrees. Well, let's go back to what we've been doing. I need to find x, so I want to get it by itself. So I need to undo my operation by doing the opposite. I know the opposite of addition is subtraction, so we're going to take away the 118, which gives me 0, so that cancels out. But we have to keep it balanced, so what we do on one side, we do on the other. So we're also going to subtract 118 degrees here. Zero. Okay, so this is telling me that x is equal to 62 degrees. 62 degrees. Okay, well, if we check it, 118 degrees plus 62, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it matches our 180 degrees for our supplementary angles. All right, let's try another one. Well, what do we notice about this one? Well, I see a corner here. I see this right angle. So since these angles form a right angle, they are complementary. Remember, corner, complementary, right angle, complementary. Okay, and what do we know about complementary angles? Well, we know that they are equal to 90 degrees. The sum of those two angles is 90 degrees. So our total is 90. They split our 90 in half. Okay. One angle is x, the other is 36 degrees. How can I write an equation showing my two parts equal my whole? Well, I know if I do x plus my 36 degrees, that's going to equal my total of 90. I want to get x by itself, so we're going to undo this operation by doing the opposite of addition, which is subtraction. So I'm going to take away my 36. I know this equals 0, so that cancels out. Bring down your x equal to So x should be equal to 54. Let's double check. So they're saying that if I do 54 degrees plus 36 degrees, that should equal my 90. Okay, it works. So my x is equal to 54. All right, guys, make sure you put this in your notes journal, and I will see you in class. Have a great night.